And showtime, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network, also a host of this program. I am joined as every week by your other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement advisor for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Rich. I'm ready to move to 2021.
Yeah, we are counting down the hours now to 2021, just like everybody else. And the new year cannot come too soon, I think, for all of us.
Right.
Well, as we head into a new year, what better thing to do? And I'm sure most of the folks in the audience are doing this as well. It is time to set those New Year's resolutions, Eric. And so we are going to dedicate this final episode of the 5-Minute Roundup for 2020 to our New Year's resolutions. I will go ahead and kick things off before getting one from you. Obviously, given my line of work, I will continue to cover the big developments in the industry. We were talking in the last episode about work from home computing and so on. There are a lot of storylines from 2020 I will continue to cover next year, but I am going to work overtime next year, Eric, to avoid certain buzz phrases that I've just really gotten tired of. Still going to cover the news, but I'm just not going to say digital transformation anymore, if I can help it. I may have to quote somebody saying that now and again, but I am tired, even though we know that this is happening, right? And that businesses out there are taking these manual processes and digitizing them and bringing them online and so on. And it's a huge trend in the industry. It's a giant opportunity for channel pros to help their customers with that. I'm tired of saying digital transformation. New Year's resolution, I'm going to do it less often. And the other one that leaps to mind, Eric, new normal. I am guilty of writing that way too many times. Yep. Yeah. All of us, right?
Yeah.
Too many new normals. I think we're done with new normal for 2021. That's resolution 1 for me.
Yeah. And I'll add like next normal too, because it's not new normal, it's next normal. It's like, yeah, these, they tend to lose, they kind of generate a lot of curiosity and interest when they're first bandied about. But after you hear them, for the 5 millionth time, they kind of lose that oomph, right? So awesome New Year's resolution. So we'll hold you accountable to that, Rich.
On the record.
So my first New Year's resolution for 2021, I'm going to write 2 new books that I've been saying I've been going to write all year this year in 2020, but things have just gotten in the way. One will be selling cybersecurity without being a security expert. And then I'm so excited to finally sit down and actually write kind of the follow-up, not a sequel, but kind of a new envisioning of my very first bestseller, The Guide to a Successful Managed Services Practice. So it'll be more of MSP mastery, right? Using all of the things that I've, learned and helped partners develop over the last, that first book came out in 2006, Rich. So it's an oldie, but I like to say a goldie. So it's time for a new look at that. So that's my first New Year's resolution. Get 2 of these books done. So I'm excited to say that out loud because now I've got to do it.
Yeah, fantastic resolution and 2 great topics to be writing about. Selling security, absolutely. Everybody has that on their mind right now. And the managed services scene has changed in the last 14 years, so I'm sure there will be updates to the golden oldie that you wrote in 2006. So second resolution for me, I'm going to devote more editorial attention to an issue that I've written about a little bit, talked about a little bit in the ChannelPro Weekly podcast. I'm sure we've spoken about it some on the 5-Minute Roundup, but this whole looming idea that there is regulation coming to the managed services market, which I think is absolutely true. I think it's got enormous implications for MSPs out there. I think it is driven by stuff that we have seen in the news just, in recent weeks. In terms of some pretty major breaches in the federal government and so on. And MSPs are going to be held accountable, right or wrong. They're going to be held accountable for a lot of the breach activity that's going on out there. And sooner or later, when the pandemic maybe isn't issue number one on everyone's mind, and with the election behind us and so on and so forth, state and local governments really are going to start paying more attention to this. And the people who are on the front line of providing security, you're going to see those regulations start showing up. And a big part of the story is just that there is a window open right now for MSPs to actually step in and self-regulate, essentially, to create professional codes of conduct that they can hold each other accountable to, much the way that doctors and lawyers, for example, do. But that window is going to close, I suspect, before long. So a huge story for 2021. I don't think it's maybe gotten as much attention as it's deserved, or it didn't in 2020. Resolution number 2 for me is I'm going to focus a little bit more on that next year.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you'll be covering that, Rich, because I agree with you. It is going to be one of the big stories in 2021. And you're right. I mean, if MSPs don't take a hand in it and help drive and lead some of this, we're going to find some crazy requirements being stuffed into other bills, government bills, and things like that, and we won't have any control. So and I know that there are groups in the industry right now also gearing up, gathering consensus and things like that, trying to put together coalitions to come together to try to do what you just said, is create our own kind of code of conduct and ethics, so that we have a say in some of that. And you know what, some of it's necessary. I won't deny it. I mean, we do need some form of standard, but again, the difference being, do we have the ability to have our voice heard and help create those standards, or do we let time go by and all of a sudden we now have to adhere to these regulations and comply? So great resolution. Love that one. So my next one will be, I'm going to expand my master classes for MSPs and channel pros on my site in 2021, and probably double the amount of downloadable assets and tools to help them really grow their businesses. So I've got an archive of this stuff, and I've just got to sit down and just get it all done. So 2021 is the year where I hope to see a dramatic expansion and all of those assets and resources for channel pros and MSPs.
Fantastic. Well, you are setting yourself up for a whole lot of work there, but it is good stuff to be putting out there for the folks in our audience. So I'll go on to resolution number 3 for me, and it is a classic New Year's resolution, right? I resolved to get more exercise in 2021, but I have a particular form of exercise in mind, Eric. I am looking forward. In fact, I cannot wait to getting exercise, trudging through airports, trudging through conference centers. I cannot wait to get back out on the road and be moving around out there on the conference scene, talking to channel pros, talking to vendors like I used to. That day is in sight, is it not? As vaccines are now being distributed and so on. So when it is safe and it is time and the events are there to go to, I resolve to be there once again, getting my steps in for a change instead of sitting in my office here as I have for most of 2020.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I mean, those are the days where we've exceeded our step count every time, and so you're saying you're going to allow yourself the ability to earn points the old-fashioned way, by actually flying rather than using your credit cards like I've been doing all year.
Exactly.
That's awesome. All right, so my third one is, I'm going to begin working on a top secret app for MSPs. Ooh, top secret app. So I'm just going to drop that pin on the vinyl right there, and we'll see if I actually get that one done, because that one is a massive undertaking, Rich. So that's all I'm going to say today. It's top secret app for MSPs that is unlike anything that is out there right now. That's going to really help them supercharge their business growth and performance. So I'm going to leave it right there.
Very, very intriguing. And so one more good reason for the folks in our audience to tune into the 5-minute roundup every week, because whenever that comes along, folks, you'll learn about it first here. So don't miss an episode in 2021. But, before we move on to the new year, Eric, we do have time for just one more story. And this comes to us from our Did the World Really Need This department? Because it turns out that, and I didn't know, this is a few weeks old as we share this information with you, but it turns out there's a new flavor of Oreos out there, Lady Gaga Oreos. Now, it's a little hard to tell probably from what you're looking at. The cookie is red, the filling is green. This is in honor, I guess, of her latest album. And what's interesting about this, aside from the fact that there is such a thing as Lady Gaga Oreos, and again, did the world really need this? This turns out to be the latest in a surprisingly long series of novelty Oreo flavors, Eric. And I mean, who knew? I somehow missed these through the years. I'm looking at a list that the New York Times published recently. There have been 65 different flavors of Oreos through the years. Hot chicken wing Oreos, wasabi Oreos, crispy tiramisu Oreos, carrot cake Oreos, jelly donut Oreos, key lime pie Oreo. I could go on. I had no idea.
You know what? What's interesting, and I reviewed the list along with you before today's show, and what they've done, even it's such these weird flavors, but the prevailing theme through them all is like you need milk after you eat that. I mean, hot chicken wing Oreo, yeah, man. I mean, that's the best way to get that spice out of it is milk. Key lime pie Oreo, of course. Hey, I'm with you, Rich. I've only seen like traditional Oreo, double stuffed Oreo, and the thin ones. My preference are the thin Oreos because I think the regular Oreos just have a little too much cream filling for me. But hey, hats off to Oreo to try to stay relevant. I don't know where to get these things. I mean, I haven't seen.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know if you have to order these things online or what, because I have not encountered them at the grocery store.
Right.
But after the show here, I'll look and see if they're all out of Lady Gaga Oreos, or if I can sneak in a package before the last one is grabbed. Well, that is our last word. In fact, for 2020, folks, thank you so much for joining us, not only on this episode, but all year long. We will be back next week with another episode of the 5-minute roundup for you. If you like the show, you want to maybe take a look at some episodes you missed in the past, what you want to do is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube and become a subscriber. Make sure you click that little bell icon if you want to get notified when the new episodes go up. You want to read more about what's going on in the industry, news stories, get business growth advice for your company. The place to go is channelpronetwork.com. We've got great new content for you there every day. To learn more about Eric and the work that he does with his clients, go to ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So folks, once again, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be back again next week with another episode. Until then, please, first of all, Happy New Year's. Second of all, enjoy the rest of your week, because Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.
Happy New Year.